Was it for Brad a deal? Was it to have?
We'll start with pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, thank you for joining us this evening. We are here for a special meeting in order to interview potential board members, and so we appreciate you joining us here this evening. Well, we want to jump right into the questions.
Yep. Thank you for taking the time to come and interview with us.
Sure, yes, actually, you want to introduce yourself and maybe Jack introduce yourself as well?
Jack Anderson, I'm the interim superintendent while Pete is having a medical procedure.
Things.
Yeah, we do have your application.
Okay,
Yeah. So,
yeah, I'm Dan Ramp. I have, sorry, I couldn't find the place, but you know, what can I say? I had a different picture in my mind, but that's, you know, if you ask my daughters, they say that's normal. I have two daughters and a son that came through Benton City, and I have two grandchildren that are currently, well, one is here, the other one is coming. So anyway, and I've been in the community probably about 27 years. And on the school board, I think for 14 years to 2 terms. I'm not sure.
And we don't want to take away some of the answers that you could be having. So, yeah, so there's 10 questions in front of you. One of them, I believe, is not applicable, number 7, because you don't have any relatives that are employed by the district. But yeah, we'll start asking the questions,
Sure.
but take all the time you need, and if need a moment or a glass of water, let us know. But,
Okay.
I'm just gonna get right into it. Describe your experience, training, and interests. How can they contribute to the improvement of the district?
Well, my experience is I've been on the board for a couple terms. I believe I was president of the board 1 or 2 times, but I think it was 1, but I'm not 100% sure. And I have 3 children that have been through the school and was involved in it that way. I like, you know, being involved. I think it's a very important thing. Matter of fact, probably the most important thing that we do. And that, other than that, Benton City is a good community. I think it's great for kids. I had friends who were on the Richland board and that, and the problem was there is how you spread it around so that all kids who have interest can participate. And if you're the size of Richland, that's a very, very difficult thing to do. And so I think Benton City's the right size, and I think they give a lot of opportunity for young people.
what do you hope to accomplish as a school board director?
I think one of the things that I always felt good about is that we were able to kind of stabilize a couple situations and move forward on it. And we went through, you know, interviewing principals and that type of thing. And I got there we started with new superintendent, and so that experience was good. The other thing is that I think, and it really it's easier here in County Benton, but the local people can reach out and talk to you a lot easier. They're going to be neighbors, friends, or friends of friends. Whereas opposed, I had friends that were in Richland who were on the board and that was almost impossible, you know. Everybody they saw came to a meeting and it was totally new and that kind of thing. And so I think there's some real opportunities in a school like Benton City.
What do you see as the major strengths and shortcomings of the district?
I think the major strength is that it's very open to young people that want to do things like sports or that type of thing, you know, it's there. And I think that provides a lot of opportunity. There's also, and I think this is very important, knowledge of the students that are here. And, you know, whereas if you're going through a very big high school, the teachers, the kids don't have any knowledge of who they are or anything. A weakness that I think we struggled with was a lot of times funding. And to do that, you obviously need things like levies. And we worked very, very hard in trying to get that information out about where we were way before the levy came. So it wasn't news. Sorry, you're not trying to bring somebody in and give them 10 minutes of bad news. And here's why you have to pass this. And then the parents and the people in the community understood this was it. And then the other thing was just accessibility. You know, how can you, and it puts a little bit more of an emphasis on school board members, but on administration too. How can you give those opportunities that community can kind of meet you, and it's not in a situation like a parent teacher conference or something like that. It's more of, I know that person. Okay.
What do you see as your role in the community once you have been elected? Do you see it changing? If so, how?
The role changing, or I'm sorry.
What do you see your role in the community?
Oh, okay. I'm on the school board. I have interest in making sure, I have 2 grandchildren and you're making sure that there's good opportunities and that type of thing. And I think that's it, is that school board members are really tied to trying to kind of be a balance and hear what's going on and that type of thing. And sometimes it's easier to hear for the school board member here than it is the administration. And that, on the other hand, the administration runs the school, that's their job.
Do you have any commitments which might prevent you from attending regularly scheduled meetings, workshops, or reading study materials?
As long as you guys don't hide the location. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. Not, I'm retired from Hanford. I spent 30 years out there. I was a manager of laboratory subcontracts for Mattel, and I don't have that requirement. So there's travel is certainly not that much. And work schedule is not as tough, you know. Great.
How effectively do you think you can work with the superintendent and the existing board members?
I think well, there is a little bit of a different relationship between the existing board members and the superintendent. That's just normal for the positions and that kind of thing. But I think well.
What are the characteristics of a good board member?
I think the 2 things. Number one is you gotta be a real good listener. And to be a real good listener, and that you want to get comments and get that, you want to be open to hear, you know, that type of thing. And the other thing is that the board members, although they're in charge of the school, I mean, they are not the educator. And I think, you know, what you need to do there, if there is a problem, or if there is something that the community decides, boy, we'd like to add that, you need to work it through with the administration. Okay, what is this problem? What is the situation? And that, and hear it kind of from both sides, understanding in that And that helps you work out any potential solutions that have to be done. The other thing is that they are then real good reporters back to the school as far as, I've heard some parents talk about this, can you do something like that? Because the students would really like it and that kind of thing. So I think they play, that's part of the role of that as a both, you know, in addition to contracts and things like that.
If you vote against an issue and the remainder of the board votes for an issue, how will we handle the situation? Will you publicly support the majority decision?
I would say 99.9%. There may be something out there. I don't know what it would be. But yeah, I think, you know, when you sit on a board, and I've been on a few, it was on this one, but some others talking business, you know, kind of thing. You really get to a position that here's what the board wants to do, and everybody's side is, you know, different representatives have been heard, and here's what we need to do, and then you have to accept it and move on and support it as much as you can. Good.
This one.
I just asked A and B. I wouldn't read the statement.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the board?
I guess just a couple. How are we doing financially?
Well, Mr. Rob can present that in a public meeting here. But yeah, Drew, do you want to give an overview?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're just cleaning up year end right now. We aren't gonna hit our 6% board minimum, but we're not far off at this point. But we are working to get to that 6% minimum that we just passed this last year.
What does the board see as their major issues?
That's a good question. Certainly funding. I mean, we have a levy coming up. Even beyond that, I think right now an issue is not having a full board. And not only just the logistical challenge that provides, but just having the voices and voice from the community. Beyond that, there's everyday interactions with people, as Jack has learned in his first week. So it's the challenges of dealing with the public and teachers and students, and you know, we're a district that has less funding and maybe less parental education, which, you know, has downstream consequences as well. So there's all sorts of challenges in that regard, I think, but I also think we have a lot of strengths, but you know, I think the main challenge is delivering the best education we can to the children in this district.
Yeah, no, you've got, I always felt this district, you had that. It had I think the gift of being smaller so you can really understand and that type of thing, as opposed to huge high schools and that I have friends around the world. The other thing is that you have a pretty good ally in the site. There is some ability to talk with them and get some information and maybe some opportunity as to which kind of expands maybe young people's idea of what do I want to do after high school, and if I go to college, what potentially can I do, and that type of thing. That doesn't necessarily mean being out on the site, but it's an opportunity to say, well, geology, you know, engineering, whatever, and that type of thing.
There's a lot that we can and are starting to do with STEM that I'm really excited about. The elementary school just hosted something a few months ago with a lot of people from the site, and very well attended by the community. I think even from beyond Kybee, people that came out here. So I mean, especially at the middle school, there's a lot of stuff we're doing with STEM as well. So that's something I'm excited about, like you mentioned, to show what's possible out there. And, it's not just learn how to some of the basics and then kick you out. It's like, really, what's your plan next in life, whether that be the workforce or college or military or homemaker or whatever that may be. But what do you want to do, and how do we set you up for success in that regard?
I thought Alan had these programs that were a real good opportunity. I came from Prospect, graduated from Prospect, and I'm sure it's changed 1,000 times, so I'm not making a critical comment on it. But it was pretty much what you grew up to do was farming.
Yeah.
And that was it, you know. Yeah, you could grow grapes, you could do fruit, you could do whatever. And the idea was to get as much land as possible and that you're gonna farm. And if it probably would have been from in college, but number two, military, I might have went down that road, doing things. That was just the natural thing to do and the expectation a lot of times.
And part B of that is there anything else you would like us to know about you?
I guess probably that I want to help. And it takes a little time to get that. And also this is a little bit unlike business. You can't really throw something together at bullet speed. You have to have user acceptance and that type of thing. And so, but yeah.
Well, that's all the questions we had, and with that, we will adjourn this meeting, but we do have an action item in the next meeting coming up. So if you're able to stick around, then
Sure.
you can observe that meeting. So with that, we'll adjourn this special meeting and I'll take a quick break. And thank you. I appreciate you being here and appreciate you flying with your interest here. All right, we'll call this regular meeting of the County Bend City School District number 52 to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Any comments, questions, modifications? No. Entertain motion for the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to delegations, Mr. Anderson.
Just comment that this is my 5th day. It's been a very exciting time out here at Benton City, and I've enjoyed having the opportunity to be here and be here until 1st of December. So other than that, staff at the district office as well as the staff in the buildings have been wonderful to work with. So thank you.
Great, well, appreciate that,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being here and keeping us chugging along. We'll move on to the proposed consent agenda. Any comments or questions? We'll entertain a motion.
I motion to approve the proposed consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. That passes. We'll move on to public comments. We have any public comments out there? Public comments? Okay. First, I'm going to read a statement and then you can come up. The board welcomes input from the community. Please follow the public comment procedure by stating your name at the podium. When recognized by the chair, each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the board is not allowed to discuss items not on the agenda. The board will direct the superintendent to follow up on any items that arise during public comment as appropriate. The board will not allow complaints against and in any individual staff member or student in open session unless that individual has requested an open public hearing. In other words, no student or employee names can be used. So yeah, please state your name and you have 3 minutes.
Mi nombre es Sara y yo nada más vengo para decirles como me gustaría en la escuela un poquito más como atención para los niños, porque los niños a veces como que no quieren ya ir a la escuela por cosas que están pasando sobre los maestros. Ya, yo tuve mi niño el año pasado y lo que tiene y la maestra todavía sigue ahí, han pasado muchas cosas con ella. Y no me gustaría eso para los que ahora siguen con ella. Ya.
Thank you.
Bueno, buenas tardes a todos y gracias por abrirme las puertas. Mi nombre es Genoveva Molano. La señorita aquí presente me conoce. La verdad, me he dado cuenta de unas situaciones, por experiencia, me han pasado. El año pasado retiré a mi niña por ciertas circunstancias, como aquí la señora mencionó, y me gustaría que pusieran un poquito más de atención en el sentido de las personas que tienen un vocabulario no correcto para nuestros hijos. Y nosotros estamos batallando con nuestros hijos porque no quieren ir ya a la escuela. Y no es porque en el hogar pasen cosas diferentes. Mi experiencia, soy voluntaria de la escuela de mi niña y me he dado cuenta de que usan un vocabulario incorrecto, tratan a nuestros hijos incorrecto. Creo que si no ponen atención en eso, lamentablemente pueda pasar algo más. Y lo digo porque mi hija, cuando pasó bullying en la escuela, ella quiso quitarse la vida. Estoy aquí porque no quiero que le pase eso a los demás niños. Y a mi niña pequeñita de 6 años, el año pasado fue discriminada. Y creo que no hay razón para que las personas adultas se comporten de esa manera. Espero que sea la última vez que yo me pare aquí y que yo mire yo ese tipo de cosas. A lo mejor yo estoy mal, pero mis ojos miran otra cosa. Y es por mejorar la escuela. Es para que nuestros hijos no caigan en depresión. Y yo les sugiero a ustedes que están aquí presentes que abran sus ojos. Yo sé que hay personas que no podemos cambiar de la mentalidad, que no podemos cambiar cierto tipo de conducta, pero creo que la educación no debe de ser así. No a gritos, no llevar al niño a un estado de depresión. Lo digo por mi experiencia y espero que me escuchen. Se los pido de todo corazón. Porque hay muchos padres que han ido a dar sus quejas al distrito y nomás hasta ahí. No hay más.
Gracias.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Jack, could you work some staff to transcribe both those
Yeah,
comments and send
absolutely.
those to the board, and then we can discuss it.
I'll send it out to you.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to, or did we have any electronic comments? Thank you. We'll move on to new business. Policy 3144, notification and dissemination of information about student offenses and notification of threats of violence or harm, revision. Mr. Anderson?
Yes, this is just an update. We go to WASDA, the Washington School Directors Association, to update our policies. Our policy was written, was written and accepted, adopted in 2016. So it's been on the books for nearly 8 years now. So there is some updates. The new policy is a little bit more detailed in what they have. They also have embedded into that policy the legal references in the actual policy language. So it does make it seem a little longer. Our policy is referenced, our policy 3241 is referenced in this new policy, which is our student discipline, as well as our policy on threat assessment. The policy talks about notifying staff, teachers that need to know if there is a student that is enrolling in the school or is in the school that's been convicted of a sexual offense. And they break it down to a variety of different offenses in here from registered sex offender, kidnapping offenders, those types of things. If you look under number 1, where it talks about sex offenses and registered sex or kidnapping offenders, and you get yourself down right below part B, where it says principals, it's the paragraph below. It says if a student is classified as a risk level 2 or 3, they really don't define WASDA. It doesn't define the actual steps. You know, what is a level 1? What is a 2? What is a 3? Our policy has that. And I'm suggesting that we add that to the policy so that it does clearly state what a 1 is, what a 2 is, and what a 3 is. Other than that, the language is very similar. Sex offenders cannot attend the same school as the victim or victim siblings. Parents of the offender is responsible for their transportation, is what that, section A, B, and C. The Department of Social and Health Services must ensure that sex offenders do not enroll in the same school as the victim or siblings. The D, collaboration, and E, inquiries by the public are all the same, just a different wording. When you get under 2, the violent offenders, which are firearms, dangerous weapons, crimes, unlawful possession, or delivery of controlled substances, that's a little bit enhanced. As a matter of fact, the principles is a little bit enhanced, talks a little bit more detail. You go down below that, and all that is relatively new. Like I said, it goes into a lot more detail than our policy does. Under 3, where it says Public Records Act, that's also new. And number 4, the assignment of school offenders to certain classrooms. For instance, crimes against a teacher. If there was a crime such as luring, trafficking, coercion, involuntary servitude, harassment, arson, reckless burning, and malicious mischief, any crime that's directed toward a teacher, the teacher will not be assigned to his or her classroom. Other than that, everything else is just about the same, and the legal references are on the very, very last page. And it just defines threat assessments and school discipline of our policy. So it's an update. It's not a real change to anything we've already done.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Do you need acceptance of this?
Yes.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to accept the revision.
I'll move to approve the revision. All of the 31,
So, second the motion to revise policy 3144.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, that carries. We will move on to item 7B, state transitional bilingual instructional program. Seeking approval, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, last board meeting, Diane came up and gave you this purple sheet here. Kind of outlines the grant and how the grant money is being used. And it's being used for staff members mostly, the majority of the grant, and then also for professional development. And with this new grant, the state requires that the board will accept the conditions of the grant and how the grant's being used. And it's outlined in this. If you want me to go over it again, I will, but you should have it in your packet.
Yeah, that's what it's means. Unless there are any comments or questions on that?
No.
We just need that approved also.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for the approval.
A motion to approve the state transitional bilingual instructional program.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
You need a second.
Who seconded that?
Yep, sorry.
Oh, what?
You second that?
Oh, sorry, I can second that. I have a second to the approval
Right.
of the state transitional bilingual.
Thanks for keeping us honest, Eddie. Having a motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to board comments.
I gotta go to the last football game for the year on Friday, or Saturday, it was Saturday. There was a great attendance throughout the whole game. It was a really rough game to watch. Our boys did amazing. It was also my son's last game as a senior, which was hard for him and me. But it was just really nice to see the community support that went out for the whole team to watch them and play, and it was a great season for a first year program with a new head coach.
Yeah, really excited for Coach Fleming and everything he's going to be doing for our program. And I've been quite ill most of this month, and so I'm hoping to get back to my routine visits to the schools soon, but don't need to be spreading anything around. But hopefully in November, be able to resume those. All right, I was looking at you like you were obligated, but no, moving on, superintendent's report, Jack.
Just very quick, we heard from Pete's wife. He is now home from the hospital. He's recovering. He got home last night at 5:30, and Shelley said he's had the best night's sleep and he's gone into the hospital. So things are going really well for him.
Good, thank you for sharing that update. All right, with that, we'll move into executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, section 1G, performance of a public employee, not to exceed 30 minutes, and we will have business to follow. So please do stick around if you would like to see what happens next. But we will adjourn for 30 minutes. Appointment for now, but we'll see you at the next meeting, and
Thank you very much.
we'll back then. So thank you.
You guys' contact information. You guys' contact information will be contacting him, date and time of the meeting. Okay.
And with that, we will adjourn. All right, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.